In this video, we will try to replace an ignition switch and a key on a John Deere 100 series lawn tractor or lawnmower. We will be demonstrating this on a John Deere D140 lawn tractor. In this view, you can see the key is able to turn, but it is rusted and stuck in the ignition switch. We will replace both the ignition switch and the key with new parts. Here is the new ignition switch. This John Deere ignition switch is part number GY20074. Here is the new ignition key. This John Deere ignition key is part number GY20680. This ignition switch and key was specific to the lawn tractor in this video. You'll want to double check the part numbers specific to your lawn tractor. As seen, the key fits into the ignition switch and is able to turn the switch. We will now open the hood of the lawn tractor. With the hood open, we can disconnect the negative battery cable. We are using two 10mm wrenches to remove the hardware from the negative battery cable. The hardware was then reinstalled on the negative battery cable. The cable with the hardware was placed underneath the rod for the parking brake to keep it disconnected and out of the way. In this view, with the hood open, we can see the bottom of the ignition switch. With the battery disconnected, we can start to remove the ignition switch. We will do this by first pulling the electrical connector out. While holding the tabs, we can push the ignition switch upward. The ignition switch will then be removed when pushed out from the bottom up. Here's another view of the old ignition switch and key. As mentioned previously, the key is able to turn, but it is stuck in the old ignition switch. Next, we will set the new ignition switch in place and push it in from the top down. We will insert the key to test that it works with the ignition switch. We now see the bottom of the new ignition switch. We will wipe down the end of the electrical connector with a paper towel. We will then reinsert the electrical connector into the bottom of the ignition switch. With the battery still disconnected, we will again test our key and ignition switch. We will free the cable from the rod and remove the hardware from the cable. Now we will reinstall the cable to the negative battery terminal with the hardware. We will tighten the hardware for the negative battery cable with two 10mm wrenches. Next, we will close the hood while making sure the wire is tucked in properly. We now have a new ignition switch with a removable key ready to start and stop the lawn tractor engine. Although this is demonstrated on a John Deere D140, this ignition switch and key should fit almost all John Deere 100 series lawn tractors. Thank you for watching. If you haven't yet, subscribe now. Comments and likes are also welcomed.